If you really want to cure Candida, the only way to do it is to get to the root cause of the problem. If you fail to do this, then you are just relieving the symptoms temporarily, but they are likely to come back in the future. There is good news. There is a sure way to get rid of your yeast infection quickly, often within 12 hours, as well as dealing with the root cause of the problem. If you have been desperate to find a cure, then this is something that you have to take a look at. I put the official website below in the video description. Give it a shot and let me know how it goes. Don't forget to like the video. And don't forget to subscribe. Research has found sugar which is refined might boost the chance of having yeast infections. Over the past few decades, our nutritional regimen involving refined sugar has significantly increased. For this reason, infections have tremendously risen. An uncomplicated natural cure for yeast infection tends to be to lessen the quantity of sugar in one's diet. Yeast can only increase when yeast has an item to feed on, so the yeast is able to survive. Via lowering how much refined sugar, ultimately a person will be starving the yeast. In the event a person happens to be obese, then an individual will have an increased likelihood of getting recurring cases of Candida albicans. Yeast could grow in moist areas, for example an individual's private place. However, the yeast is able to develop around additional damp areas, for example under the breast or else under the armpits. Often a person having diabetes who will be obese may suffer from chronic yeast infections. This specific occasion occurs because of an imbalance on behalf of glucose. When one will have extra glucose in a body, then yeast will have something to be able to eat, which enables the yeast to be able to grow. An infection can produce at this point. Monitoring glucose amounts is necessary in regards to a diabetic. However, one has to reduce his or her sugar ranges inside their system in order to reduce yeast growth. Lowering the quantities is a great natural cure for yeast infection, which one could do. One must always have contact with the medical professional. An individual becoming diabetic, overweight plus having Candida albicans will not occur instantly. One needs to think about a permanent approach to gradually rebuild the body to revert back to a more suitable condition. An individual often has several various health problems when a person will be overweight. Eventually, a doctor is going to recommend antibiotics in regards to these ailments. Excessive usage regarding those antibiotics destroys good and bad bacterium in the stomach. Healthy bacterium is essential to be able to balance the yeast in an individual's body. Whenever there will not be sufficient beneficial bacteria to be able to regulate this yeast in the body, then the yeast could overgrow. This particular scenario will allow yeast infections to be able to develop. An individual must at all times attempt to take the least amount regarding any antibiotics to treat whichever ailment, given that the antibiotics can harm good bacteria which will be necessary. A person attending to body weight problems tends to be a way of life modifying occurrence. A person could read about the way pleased individuals tend to be whenever the person loses excess weight. One will find it impossible to find a story of somebody that currently is sad since he or she eliminated an extra 50 lbs of unneeded body weight. Shedding weight tends to be a wonderful natural cure for yeast infection that a number of people miss. Live a better lifestyle by keeping a normal body weight.